So we are at the loudest booth at Computex. Be quiet. It kind of worked. It kind of worked. I need to put more on the exclamation point. They're very particular about that, by the way. There are a lot of people here. It is very loud at Be Quiet. It's like an inverse marketing thing. It's reverse psychology. We're going to be talking about two things that they have. One is an interesting power supply cost calculator. It's just kind of fun. Basically putting in cost per kilowatt hour, whatever you pay, and then spitting out a calculation for it. So we can do an update on the calculations and let it start ticking up. But basically, you type in your kilowatt hour cost. It, since launch, starts logging. It's simple math, right? You just multiply how much power is being used versus whatever your cost per kilowatt hour is. So we'll talk about this a little more. But then they also have a case, which is the PureBase 803. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you, man?
I'm good. Oh, this is a double cross interview.
Occasionally you want to cross streams.
Sometimes
it's actually a good idea.
Yes.
Sometimes it is a good idea.
That is true.
You're looking glorious.
Oh, thank you. You as well.
Thank you.
I saw you were streaming your Cooler Master headquarters tour.
Yes, I was. Yes, yeah. That they are. They have a lot of shit. If I'm putting it lightly.
Did they tell you that their building is shaped like a heatsink?
Oh yes.
Their actual building.
We were speculating if the fins on the outside were actually how all the employees get cooled.
Look.
There's a lot of ways that could go.
Air conditioning's expensive out here.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you, man.
We'll run over the case. Yeah. So this is the PureBase 803 LX. I love seeing Kyle. Kyle is great. They have a couple versions of this. There's an Airflow, there's an LX, and we'll run through these, but one of them runs with 4 140s. The other case is running with 3 that are pre-installed, 3 fans pre-installed. Basically, on the larger side of cases where they're going to have a workstation alternative later, it's not ready yet, that'll have an SSI EEB or SSI CEB motherboard, which, by the way, I'm very happy anytime a company uses SSI EEB and SSI CEB instead of EATX, because the EATX is bullshit and a lie, and it's not a real spec, but CEB and EEB are. So thank you, Be Quiet, for doing that. Anyway, that's kind of the two main things they've got. Now, the other thing we're going to be talking with Be Quiet about for this visit is Aaron Licht, the CEO, will be joining briefly to talk about Micro-ATX. We talked with him recently for our Collapse of the Industry documentary, and he's going to be back talking about Micro-ATX because there seems to be a surge in interest at the show. So let's get into it. We brought you this video with our brand new wireframe V2 mouse mat on store.gamersnexus.net, also accompanied by our new Micro Slop t-shirt. These feature a parody Micro Slop logo with a blue screen of death frowny face, warning marks from Event Viewer, and our rendition of Tux the Penguin hidden away, and of course, Micro Slop. The wireframe V2 mouse mat on the GN store was made by Andrew on the team in Blender, fully 3D modeled, and then represented in a high-quality mouse mat that you see here. The mat can easily accommodate a keyboard and mouse, has fine detail with the city built of wireframe components for the heatsink, RAM, because let's be honest, it's the only place any of us can get any now, and cooling tubes, and we use a matching blue stitching for anti-fray with a blue rubber underside for some unique GN flair. Head to store.gamersaccess.net to support our deep dive, independent research content like this directly. All right, so starting with the PureBase 803 LX and the Airflow, they're targeting 2027 Q1 for the release. The glass version should be sub $200, but they're not sure yet. The Airflow version will be cheaper. It has 8 hard drive bays for support, but no caddies included. They sell that separately as DLC. DRM's a different one. They sell that separately as DLC. And then up to 140s for the fans. There is at least, it sounds like 2 hubs included. They might be going for a 6x6 for the hubs, meaning 6 fans for both. And then LX also supports RGB for the hub, from what they were telling us. The fan configuration is 3 reverse for the side 140s and 1 exhaust 140, so it is a larger set of fans at a higher quantity. Light Wains 3 for those. Airflow is running 3 pure Wains, so 2 for the front, 1 for the back, and then both cases include the vertical GPU bracket. So physically, a couple things. The I/O is movable. This is an I/O. You can mount the I/O here. Currently, it's at the bottom front. They've relocated it. This hole, it was pretty funny actually. I was looking at that like, what the fuck is that for? Because you can't run through cables through it. There's no top chamber. Can't run tubes through it, which would have also made sense, I guess, in an age past. But there's a giant hole in the top of the case, and they got the product manager, and actually, I don't know if we can even see it, but down in that hole there's a screw. So there's a single screw that is horizontal this gigantic hole is to access that screw. At least, they're thinking about the right things. The screw is for, I think, the cable management cover. I'm pretty sure that's what it's for. For the rest of the case, so, the bottom's got this kind of side skirt to it, where if we come around this side, this is like a side skirt. The first thing I was bringing up to be quiet was, this is risky, let's see how this goes. I looked at that and I was like, well, my concerns are the obvious, which is you've got sunken fans, can be good, but it depends if they have enough room to breathe at the bottom. Sunken fans, though, pushing air up with the side skirt at the side causes a problem where the air can escape immediately as it comes in, so you've got some pressure loss basically there. But this, despite being perforated, is actually a solid steel panel on the inside up at the top part. This is solid. So basically they're dragging this mesh up to just have it look, uniform, I guess. But only the bottom, it's perforated here. Only the bottom's perforated for it to breathe, which is good because this is not a ton of height, so they need it. So that's good. And then they seal this, which is also good, so the air doesn't just immediately escape. So some really good attention to detail there on the case. I thought I was going to get them on that one, but they had thought that through. For the drive cages, we've got a shot of another one, but they mount in here. Basically, they take the place of the side fans, and then in the airflow version, which has a mesh front, you would just go with the fans in the front, obviously, and pushes past the drive cages. They're kind of solo mount. They don't go to rails and scaffolding like the older case styles did for hard drives. So I think that pretty much covers the PureBase 803. Let's go over to the software really quick. So software side, the first thing I was requested from Be Quiet was to save this to a log file. Right now, it just logs these numbers since software launched, so even within your current Windows session, you close the software and you lose the data, obviously. They could make that persistent, maybe write to a text file in an app data folder or something, but this is just, it is kind of interesting. We could actually make use of this. This is a very easy calculation to do on your own, obviously, but just to make a point of it, because this is currently, just running for a few minutes while we're filming, we have it at a $25.50 cost if they're at a 50-cent kilowatt hour cost. We're going to change this to a larger number just to kind of get the point, which updates it to $2,600. Obviously, $50 per kilowatt hour is not a thing, but if you were to run longer, then that might be a type of number you would see. I've asked them, and it sounds like they're receptive to figure out a way to just get this into a CSV file. That would be great for us. We could make use of it in testing. It's not totally unique to Be Quiet, but I haven't seen a kilowatt hour calculator before built into power supply software. You just get on the internet normally. Other things here, so they do have multi-rail split out, and then you can switch to single rail mode right here, which just changes it over to a single, set of 12 volt, for example. And then for fan mode, passive or semi-passive, it'll spin up when it's too hot, versus active here, it spins the fan up. So that's kind of it for the technology side, the hardware side, for what we're covering at Be Quiet. Now we're going to jump into a quick discussion with the CEO. All right, so I'm joined again by Aaron, CEO of Be Quiet. Just a couple weeks ago, you joined us to talk about do the industry documentary.
Right, amazing video. Thanks for that.
Thank you, yeah. And this time, topics, it's interesting, there's some connections to that discussion, but Micro-ATX, I've noticed there's been maybe an increased interest in Micro-ATX lately, especially seeing some of it in the audience. Big picture, first of all, you've got maybe some specifics you can give us, but big picture, what do you think what's the interest in Micro-ATX suddenly? And is it related to what we were talking about?
It's an interesting question, to be honest. So I see two topics actually about it. One thing, yes, people are trying to look at cost. That's what we had in the video as well, right? So obviously they're looking at cost of production also, even though if it's only steel, but it lowers the cost, obviously. And also in terms of shipping, we had supply chain, right, in the video. So that's also a thing, right? How many cases can you put in the case in the container? So that's a cost topic as well. If we look at the market, what we can see is there's more and more the budget mainboards are Micro-ATX. So that's something that we can see as well. For me, or for us at Be Quiet, we look at it out of a different angle. We don't have a Micro-ATX case right now, you know that. We have the right power supplies for it. We have the FFX power, and maybe as a sneak, we are working obviously on a newer version on that one as well. But personally, and the entire team, we are looking at Micro-ATX already for a couple of years, because we would love to see a case from Be Quiet in a Micro-ATX form factor. Think about a light base, for example, in a smaller form factor or a dark base. would be an amazing project. Until now, we didn't do it. Maybe I can, I don't know, you say it in English, abuse or use the video to actually target that to your audience as well. I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, what do you think?
Question, I guess, is would you buy a Micro-ATX Be Quiet case, I guess, is kind of the...
That's a very bold question. I try to sneak around that, but yeah, to be honest, I would love to hear your thoughts. So in the last video, we talked about how we investigate our market, how we look at, does it make sense to go in a specific product segment? What's the volume behind it? Because someone has to also make sense in terms of cost.
What for investment in something like Micro-ATX, what does that look like? I mean, what really are the main drivers of the spend, the money?
Yeah, so biggest part of development is always the tooling cost, right? So we're talking about a couple of €100,000 overall. That's what we have to invest. But out of a financial situation, I think a good comparison is if I look at a year, what can we develop with the team, the resources we have? Do I go into making a pure base, which is higher volume? Potentially, that could be financially the decision. But on the other side, this is how we look at Be Quiet. We have I always call it fans, remember? Our fans, our target group. And it's not only about doing products that have a high volume, but that also serve our community. And this is why I think it's an amazing opportunity to talk about it, because I would, as you already said, love to hear what you think. The team and everybody in the company, they would really want to see a Mini-ITX project coming to the market. And to be open about it, we are working on it. We're looking at it. We're doing the market research. We're trying to find out what could be the right design for it. But if we go in that segment, we're going to go in a premium world. So we're not going to go in a pure level because, and this is also interesting as a discussion, the way I look at Micro-ATX users, it's even more enthusiast than, let's call it ATX. Because if you want to build a good-looking system, Micro-ATX, you have to be an enthusiast, right? You have to take care of the cable management, you have to make it look good, and I think that's way more enthusiast than maybe ATX.
Right. What do you think, on the business side, I guess, what are the risks of kind of going Micro-ATX or Mini-ITX? And right now, specifically, with the current market where we were just talking about how it's kind of down for everybody, are there any benefits that don't typically exist? In other words, what I'm looking for, one of the things uniquely that you talked about in our discussion was you were, I wouldn't say positive, but you had an optimistic outlook on Be Quiet's 2027 onward.
Right.
So, is this an innovation is born from necessity type of situation, where does it make more sense now than typically to explore projects like Micro-ATX or Mini-ITX? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got the question. For us, it's not. We are not looking at it now because we can save costs, or we can go in a market that is more cost sensitive. We are actually, and this is what I said in the video as well, we have launches that were postponed because in this market, some of the launches, unfortunately, don't make sense. But we're using the time to basically do our homework, if you can say so. So what we're doing, we are researching intensively, okay, what segment is still a white spot for us, what makes sense, and as I said, Micro-ATX, something we're following for a couple of years already. So we are looking at it right now and see how we can basically integrate it in the portfolio.
What other factors are there to consider on the business side other than, so I mean, obviously it's just like, what's the market volume and can you make back that money if you spend $500,000 on tooling or whatever? Right. Are there any other factors, that I'm overlooking?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like in all the data, you look what the volume is, right? But you also check what's the competition, who's in there already, what are they doing, what are they doing good, what do the people love about it? So you do the market research also to find out what features you need to have in there, right? So I would say it's a mixture, but for overall, this is what I try to explain with the pure base. You always have to find the balance between bringing products that bring in also revenue, but then also bring products that contribute to the market, to the brand and to the people, right? So it's a balance. If you would only do, my opinion, if you would only do Micro-ATX, for example, you would potentially miss out revenue that you do with a pure base. So you need to balance it. Yeah.
Okay. Have you do you personally have any? Have you done any ITX or micro ATX builds anytime recently? Or are you all
Wow.
big cases for you?
Wow, that's.
What's your building? What's your building at home? Which Be Quiet case are you?
I totally love where this is going. This is just completely unprepared, by the way. I didn't expect the question coming, and I think you don't know that, by the way. So it's amazing.
I actually don't know what you have.
It's amazing topic. So what do I have at home? Let's start with that one. I have a light base. So I totally love the light base. Of course, it's my brand, but I love the case. I love how it looks. I'm like really long time in industry, you know that, and I love this. For me, it's a vintage look, even though it has lights, but you can put it on a wooden table and you put it horizontal, and I just love the look. And plus my kids, I have 3 kids, and all of them said, hey, what do you actually do for work? And I said, and they said they want to build a PC. So I took everything out of the dark base and we rebuilt it in a light base.
Okay, cool.
So that's what I have at home. Talking about Micro-ATX, and that's an emotional topic actually. So when I started working in industry, I had a website, and with this website we did modding contests. And one of the very early modding contests was together with the company Shuttle. Do you still know that?
Shuttle, yeah.
So they have these bare bones.
I had a Shuttle case.
Amazing, me too. And that was one of the first systems where you had to really squeeze everything in a small form factor. And in this modding contest, I also participated as the owner, and I was I think I was the first at that time. That's like 20 years ago. I built my own water cooler for the graphic card. I really soldered it with my dad together, and built a whole water cooling into the Shuttle barebone with the reservoir sticking out on the top of the case. So personally, that's what I'm saying. I love the form factor. I really love it, and you have to be a total geek or nerd to spend the time and you do everything that it looks good end of the day. So, but that was honestly the last time. So that's a long time ago.
No, that's cool. Yeah. Shuttle was a really unique.
That's old days.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I guess I don't know, for audience feedback, Aaron will probably be reading through some of the comments. So
it's a lot of comments, by the way. I looked at the video. I tried to see some of them. You guys are commenting so fast. It's basically like a live chat. But I would somehow love to see what you think about it, because I can see parts of the team behind the cameraman smiling. We are looking at the topic, and I really like the topic, but I would love to understand what your audience, our customers, basically say about it.
Right, what the interest is, yeah. So that'll wrap us for the Be Quiet suite at Computex, and Aaron, thank you for joining me again.
Thanks for coming over, appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see you all next time.